wonderful. And along with, you gotta love these computers. Geez. Come on. And good morning. As we start our meeting, how about let's everyone introduce themselves? And so, Nick, why don't you start us off?
Good morning, Morris. About the big old start, I feel back around it. One where it's very direct about all very people. Reno-Weber, I'm the councilman for the best district of the city. Jason Grissom, I'm the manager of LMPD. Good morning, I'm Keeling, the Division Resource Officer for the 5th Division. I work for Major Grant.
Deanna O'Daniel, I own self-speak hypnosis and an Airbnb called Highland Harmony House. I've written 3 memoirs on this, and I'm looking for places to speak on that.
Greg Rundage, from Neighborhood Association, since I will be leaving early, I want to explain that I am actually in costume for Halloween. This is
Wonderful.
I'm Joe Phillips, the owner of Pints Union, moving into the old number.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And there's someone else
Wonderful.
These are my sons that don't want to stand up. Come on. Do it. Want to do it?
Hello, gentlemen.
I'm Mary Lois Lee. I'm one of the public properties on the property. I'm really excited. Really excited.
David Schultz, general manager for the Mark Street store in Highlands.
Cheryl Webb, I do all the events marketing for Mark Street.
Board of Guard and the Congressman.
Well, ladies and one gentleman, Dave Gutierrez, operation manager of the city of Louisville. Good morning, I'm Henry Huxley, the ambassador.
Amy Washburn, district director for Market Garden.
Good morning, Ian today.
Morning, Megan Pope with Outlook-In. Good morning, Karen Middleton, Park Community Credit Union.
Drew Borgman, I'm the owner of Flanagan's Hill House.
And last but not least,
We got
well, he's on this side. Yeah, well, go ahead. He's on this side. Go ahead.
I'm a local entrepreneur.
Yes. And one of our newest members, I have to say. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm Mark Abrams, as of today, I'm a former board member of the Highland Congress. This is my last meeting as a board member.
And I'm Beth Mississippi, I'm the manager of the Shelby Park Library inside the.
Wonderful.
Sales agent, managed realtors, also a board member and the treasurer.
I'm Ralph Weibel, I do the graffiti thing for the Highland.
All right. Darling, how you doing?
Whoever I am. I'm Molly Goldman. I am the chair of the Educated Advisory Committee. And I agree with all, yes. It is collection information. Because I know all of you all are going to vote early because you want to avoid the line. And if there's a problem, there's a way that you can correct it. And if you don't vote early, they're going to take it away. So.
Yes. Yes.
Go for it.
All right. Cassie Armstrong's about 5 or 10 minutes out. She got caught in taking the children to school. Been there, done that. So I understand. But she will be here in just a few. And in support of the current comments, I don't know if you all can read these or not, but I wore these socks today. These socks say, vote you all. So I hope that you all will think about the right stuff. And that includes voting early. So I'm Aaron Givhan. I'm the president of the Highlands Commerce Guild. I want to thank you all here today for multiple reasons. When you look at what's been going on in our community, a lot of things that come down to it is we have the right stuff. Look at our elected officials. Look at our Louisville Police Department. Look at the volunteers of our neighborhood associations and the members of each of these organizations. We have the right stuff. So, in getting started this morning, how about a little update about what we've been doing to curtail the crimes and the misdemeanors of our area? Jason, would you like to give us a little overview? Yeah. And come around this side, you can't get through.
Up here. All right, good morning. Jason Grissom with the LMPD 5th Division. It's good to be here. So was it last week, Ray, that was Tyler Park? Ray, was last week or 2 weeks ago, our neighborhood association meeting? It was a week ago. So I've said this before, is one of the things I first noticed about 2.5 years ago, and I'll say it again, is that one of the things that keeps the 5th Division, the Highlands in particular, a safe area, safe neighborhood, is the involvement of the community and the communication. And going to the Tyler Park meeting the other week, I noticed a lot of the same faces that I see at other events and at other meetings. And the same thing goes for here. Like, I know almost everybody in this room is probably not just involved in the Highland Commerce Guild. They are involved in other things. And that's what you don't see in other parts of town. This is what keeps the Highlands healthy. It's what helps keep it safe. The communication amongst the people. The community are the number one deterrent in crime, the number one deterrent in community disorder. And we don't have that to the extent that other places do. So I always want to highlight that as often as I can, because it's really important. You all know how to communicate with each other. You know how to communicate with local government, state and federal. That's where your resources are, and you take advantage of them. So I just say, keep it up, keep doing what you're doing. It makes my job a whole lot easier, and it makes John's job really easy, because everywhere he goes, he sees the same people. So that helps us out a whole lot. As far as what we're doing, good news is I don't have a lot to tell you. Crime is down almost 6% in the 5th Division. That is down, and the year before it was down, and the year before that was down. So we keep seeing this gradual decrease. For us, luckily, knock on wood, violent crime is still down. The bar area still gives us a little problem from time to time. It brings in so many people. It gets beyond what we can handle, but we actually do a really good job of making an arrest when things pop off. You saw last week, we had a big arrest on a burglar. That was one of those situations, and it's a great little story. I won't go into it in detail, but it was in the news. But it's one of those things where looked like a couple business burglaries were going on. It actually ended up being a lot more than that. Probably about 10 business burglaries, some stolen cars, some guns, some auto thefts, some theft from autos, a whole bunch of things. We're still working on it. So that continues. What else has been going on? We work with ABC all the time, so I'm glad to see Brad here. He works hard. He helps us out a tremendous amount. Can't be grateful enough. And other than that, we're looking really good. Lock your cars. Kias and Hyundais are still getting stolen. So if you have a Kia or a Hyundai, or your neighbor does, we have got some steering wheel locks at the 5th Division. Probably another 100 of them left. I think John's probably about right. Stop by, we'll give you one for free. Go to take it to the dealer, get that update on the ignition system, because those things are still getting stolen. And those that aren't getting stolen, the bad guys are damaging them, trying to steal them. So it's a lose-lose. So get that under control. Any questions? Comments? Concerns?
Thank you.
All right.
Due to a little time schedule, Ben has to leave at 9. So Ben, will you please come up and inform us upon the level of excitement that you bring?
Thanks, Aaron. And I could not echo more strongly what Major Grissom said. The real strength of the Highlands is in what my friend Ray calls little d democracy. And it is the participation of so many people in all of the activities that we have, and being our eyes and ears in the community. Because this is an annual meeting and I get to do this every month, I'll be very brief. But I do just want to highlight that our focus over the last year has really been around the nuts and bolts of how people experience our community and our government. It's been around the pieces of traffic calming. It has been around the pieces of how do we engage the people who are in street homelessness. How do we deal with noise issues? And mostly what we have been doing is very aggressively listening. And then building plans together where we're seeing, as Major Grissom talked about, pretty good trends in most of the things that we care about. And that's because we have been doing that on the ground work, making the mechanics of government work. When you call our office because there is an abandoned car on the street, now we have the resources that we are able to respond to that. When we talk about a broken sidewalk, we cannot fix the whole thing, but we can handle the issues that are worst. We're going to have a meeting around reforming the noise ordinance on November 4th. So please join us for that so that we can really understand all of the complexities of those issues and come up with a common solution. It had never crossed my mind that we need to think about bagpipes differently than we think about amplified music. And we wouldn't do that unless we listened. And so we are listening. And that's the kind of thing that I think is really so important. So I cannot echo enough. Please join your neighborhood associations. We have a lot of them. If you live in a small city, please join those boards and be engaged. And when you have issues, let us know. You are our eyes and ears, and we are pretty responsive. So thank you guys so much for being a part of this. I'm happy to be engaged and to love to be here every month. So thank you.
Anyone with the conflict of the Christmas event for us in the city?
Yeah, we had luck on it and it was bad. So we will be counter programming. We will be trying to create complementary programs for Light Up Louisville and Bardstown Road Aglow. Clearly Bardstown Road Aglow is going to be better, so we should all go there. And then maybe at some point drop by downtown. But yeah, not good luck.
I do want to thank Ben because this started more than a year ago in trying to understand what the purpose was. No explanation, no real purpose, but we are stuck with the situation. It does cause us hardship because sponsors like LG&E will not do 2 events in one time. So we are working with the community and trying to get additional funds for the light up of the tree. And we're in a progressive mode. Maker's Mark is our primary sponsor. They were not thrilled that we couldn't get cooperation as well. So let's move along. Morgan, now I know there's a lot going on in the world, and it's a micro to macro distillate. Come on down.
Thank you guys for having me here today. I'm truly here to listen, to see what's going on. This is our home. So my wife and I live 1 block off Bardstown Road. I represented this area in the state Senate for a while. Councilman Reno-Weber, thank you for what you're doing, for your efforts. I mean, obviously a lot of the stuff that we see here in our neighborhood goes to your city, goes to your state legislature. All the roads off of Bardstown Road are city roads. Bardstown Road is a state road. So now you're thinking, well, what the hell is this guy doing here? We try to work with our local partners. And there's several things we can, in fact, do from our office that I think can help not just the Highlands, but the Highlands business community. So a few of those things, and why I've got Amy Washburn, my district director here. Number one, anything you all have as a small business entity, with the Small Business Association, with any of the grants that are out there that are available. We have a grants newsletter we send out every single month. We have updates that detail that type of constituent work. If you're not on it, we can't put you on it. You have to ask to be on it, which is just one of those little things from the federal government we have to deal with. So if you guys want to get on our grants newsletter, please see me or Amy after this is over. Any issues you are having, whether it's you've lost a passport, whether it is you are having trouble with the IRS, you're having trouble with any federal entity, we have any veterans who are here, we do all of that type of casework and want to be able to help. The last thing, of course, is what does Congress do most often? And the power of Congress remains the power of the purse. Every year, assuming we actually pass a budget in Washington, we get community-funded projects. These community-funded projects are how we can add to the infrastructure in the Bardstown Road corridor. It's how we can help this area out. And so we work with our local partners. We work on those. We try to make those as successful as possible. So anything you guys see, I tell people this all the time, never assume we know it, and please know you can't over-communicate with us. So the last thing I'll say, and we've done this in several neighborhoods around Louisville, just because we don't have a direct tie to, say, changing a stoplight on Bardstown Road or building a bump out on Bardstown Road. One of the things we're able to do from my office really well is convene groups of people. We do that in neighborhoods across the city. I think this area of town doesn't think about it all that often. But if you're having trouble getting people in a room to talk to each other or make a decision or push something forward or backward, let us know. We're happy to try and convene the meeting and get the right people together in the right room to at least get an answer to the problem. So thank you guys for having us here today. We'll stick around afterwards to talk to everybody.
And if I can give one very concrete example of the way that the Congressman's office has done that so well, we were having some real issues around Oak Field and for the flight path there. He was able to convene a great meeting with the FAA that has led directly to not but some changes. So thank you so much for all the work that you do for all of us.
Now, I know in this community, we are an onion would be a kind description of the multi-layers, very thin, very entwining, and very complex. To help understand a little bit more, we have Brad Silveria here today to sort of explain and sort of help us understand where we are. All right, Cassie, how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for letting me join virtually, Aaron.
Anytime, anytime. If you will just give me a couple of minutes, we'll get right back to you. But I'm so glad we're excited to have you.
Thanks.
Morning, everybody. This is probably the first time I haven't prepared a speech since I've been in the role of the ABC director. So I'm going to kind of shoot from the hip, do the best I can, and I'll answer questions. There's been a lot of movement. It's been very, very busy would probably be the best word. I told somebody back in the back, hectic might even describe how some of the things are going. So the ABC controls more than just alcohol in the city. We have licenses over food trucks to pawn shops, secondhand dealers. I mean, you name it. If it moves in Louisville, chances are there's probably a permit for it and it comes through my department. So I'm proud to say at the present moment, ABC and LMPD, I would say, have the best relationship we've probably ever had. Major Grissom, strong advocate for safety in this community. Councilman Weber, Morgan, all of the elected officials are committed to seeing results. And so some of the things, while I'll talk about them maybe a success, to some people, what the alcoholic beverage control does is not always viewed as success, because sometimes it means we've had to put somebody out of business. That's not something you want to stand and be very strongly proud of. But on the flip side, the people that actually now can maybe rest or get some sleep, who call and say thank you, because now we can finally rest, relax. So it's a real balancing act that sometimes, you don't always get the accolades that you think, but it's overall, people in our positions have to follow the law. And so one example, what Ben was talking about Monday night, the listening session. A couple days ago, I was told that I single-handedly put musicians in the unemployment line. While I hate that, I don't like the idea that falls on me. I have been behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, advocating for changes to the noise ordinance that will allow for a peaceful harmony between business and the residents, because where they abut is there's never a good scenario that comes out of it when outdoor live music is played. The people want to sleep, the business wants to make money, and then here comes the big bad ABC, and we have to be the bad guy to enforce the rules. So I have advocated for some changes. I've told Ben some of the things that I think would be most beneficial. More than likely, Monday night, I'm going to sit and listen because I do want to take it in. But my job is the enforcement arm of, we issue the licenses, we do carry out the enforcement. But I will say, from a person who's done this for many years, I'm a strong advocate for business as well. Anybody who works with me knows, like, we don't get bonuses for the fines we issue. We really hate it. We hope to change the behavior. And if we can see a behavior change, we might, if it's a $2,500 fine, for example, we might lower that down, because we know really we've accomplished the goal. Compliance is always the goal for us. So I will say the last thing before I take any questions is, for example, the residents in the Bardstown Bonnycastle area, they can finally sleep again. They have peace in their neighborhood. I've actually heard some thanks, and actually no calls sometimes is good news for us, right? Morgan, I think it was you that said you can't over communicate. When we get a lot of the calls, we know some bad things are going on. So we're taking some extraordinary measures. We're doing some things that we haven't maybe done in a long time. We're looking at licenses that have been problematic in this community, and we're not renewing them. We're not going to renew them, and we're not going to continue to allow bad behavior through the service of alcoholic beverages. And that will have a resonating effect, if you ask me, because it is a privilege to sell alcohol in this community, and we want it to be a harmonious relationship. But when that relationship is abused, in our opinion, we're not going to renew that license, and we're not going to continue down that same path where we continuously do this over and over. And with that, I'll conclude, and I'll answer any questions. Yes, ma'am.
Not a question, but I just want to express my appreciation and gratitude for your work, for Congressman Weber's work. I live right on the corner of Alta and Bardstown Road. The difference in the past month has been absolutely incredible. I know that corridor is a little more empty now than it used to be. I know that won't last for long. And I think we can be really thoughtful about the businesses that are going in. We're so excited for what's going to happen at the Old Cumberland Brews. I remember a time when Bardstown Road was a place where everyone could walk and get a cup of coffee and buy a book and go to a bar. And it was very neighborly and a safe place, and I really look forward to having that back. So thank you so much for everything you've done for the neighborhood. You notice the improvement. I know your job is not easy. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have
I'm
a
gonna
question.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm on Zoom.
When I first moved to this area, Bardstown Road was predominantly a restaurant road with loads of places to eat. Now it's sort of segued into a pub bar situation. I don't know if that's me noticing it or anybody else has, but it just seems to be more bars wanting to come. A few years back, and then prior to that, it was antique shops, and then it became restaurants, and that's sort of been the theme. Now it's a lot of bars.
yes, ma'am. I will say that some of the residents in the Bardstown Bonnycastle area were talking about it never materialized, but they were talking about doing a vote to make it where you could only be a restaurant instead of, and luckily that didn't have to happen. But there was a talk, and that is an option for the residents to hold a local option election, but we didn't have to trigger that in these cases. Anybody else?
I think a lot of the bars still serve food. They do, yeah, so it's kind of like a restaurant or a pub. And I think that's a nice combination, because we can go there in the afternoons or the evenings or in the evening, and I don't think it's all bars. I mean, I like the combination.
Yeah, I don't prefer one over the other. Yeah, as long as they're reasonable, respectful, and everybody can get along, like Flanagan's and your establishment, Outlook Inn, they do a really nice job. I mean, that's just the reality of it is, and sometimes, we go across, but it overall, it's nothing personal. And, overall, I don't advocate for one more than the other. Thank you. Anybody else?
And
All
when
right,
you
thank
said that you're,
I think this person on it says iPhone, so I'm sorry, we don't know who you are.
oh, hi, yeah, I'm Zach. I'm live off of Bardstown. When you say you're not renewing the liquor licenses for certain businesses that are causing, I guess, or that aren't abiding by the rules, are you going off of ABC's rules, or are you going off of just like how it affects the area?
I'll say a little bit of both. So if they violated what we consider to be state law or any of our policies for the previous renewal year, we're taking a look at that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
It's interesting when you look at the structure, and again, each one of the players that we have in the Highlands seems to always cross the aisle, cross the road, and extend a welcoming hand. I don't know how many people have worked with Cassie in the past, but I can tell you that that was probably a great relief to form that relationship. I had wear and tear in the past, and she was the beginning of an easier relationship. So thank you for your continued support, Cassie. Give us a little update. You have been a busy person.
Yes, and thank you all for letting me join virtually today. I am between daycare drop-off and a 9:30 meeting, and so I appreciate you all letting me join, and I hate that I can't be there with you in person. I'll just take a couple of minutes. I first want to talk about something that I am working on, and then talk about something that I'm working against. So I just told you that I'm joining you all from a parking lot because I'm in between daycare drop-off and work. And that's really a nice segue to one of the big issues that I'm hoping to work on this session that I really believe is a business issue, and that's childcare access. I have been grateful to find relationships across the aisle with legislators who realize that we need to invest in high quality, accessible, affordable childcare. And while I hope Congress acts and continues to act in this space, they made some great investments with some of our COVID era legislation that have since expired. It really is now up to the state of Kentucky to continue to find solutions. The Kentucky Chamber of Commerce is convening a group of stakeholders, folks from the nonprofit sector, early childhood educators, business leaders, to really begin to understand, folks in city government, to really understand what it's going to take to address this issue, because it is an issue that impacts children for the rest of their lives, it impacts families, and it impacts our economy. We need to make sure that folks are able to participate in the workforce, because if people don't feel good about where they're leaving their child, they're not going to leave their child, and they're going to be out of the workforce, even though that might have ramifications for local economic development and also for that family's financial well-being. So if this is something you're interested in, I would love to talk to you. Right now is very much the idea gathering stage. I was grateful to get to go to the White House last month and talk to legislative leaders all across the country about some innovative ideas. I really feel like this is something that has the attention of a lot of elected officials right now, But it's going to take all of us continuing to champion this issue, because there are folks who are skeptical. There are folks who don't understand why this is an important government priority. And so I'm hoping that this session, that can be one of the things that I put a lot of time and attention into. And as folks who are part of the business community in the Highlands and in the city of Louisville, I hope that you all will join me in this work. So that's what I'm working on. The thing that I'm working against, we had a meeting in state and local government last week where we had a representative from Airbnb come testify. And that representative from Airbnb said that they are hoping to advance legislation that undoes, basically makes it so you can't regulate Airbnbs at all. They want to get rid of the conditional use permit process. They want to undo our rules around sort of the distance that Airbnbs can be from each other. They basically want the ability for any unit to be a short-term rental almost as a matter of right, is the sense that I was getting. And I know that this is something, when I was in local government and even now in the state Senate, I continue to hear bipartisan concerns. Particularly, people don't mind whenever there are those hosted, those owner-occupied Airbnbs as much. Those don't seem to be the things that are generating the community concern. What is generating the community concern are those basically small businesses that are operating in the residential areas without the necessary oversight, with sort of, some bad actors who aren't necessarily holding their guests accountable for the impact on the community. And so I think this is going to be an issue that we should expect to see legislation on this session. I know I've already communicated with Councilman Reno-Weber about it. I expect we'll continue communicating about it. But I know that this is an issue in the Highlands for a lot of folks. Lots of folks have strong feelings about it. I have a lot of concerns about this legislation. I don't like when we undo local laws. I don't like whenever we local government comes in and tries to solve a problem and comes up with a solution for the community, and then Frankfurt comes in and nullifies those laws. So I've got a lot of concerns. Really looking forward to hearing from you all as this legislation progresses. And I'm happy to take any questions. It's always good to see you all, and hopefully next time it will be in person. Aaron, do we have any questions in the room?
Let's see. No one's
Nobody?
asking, not yet. The question that came to mind was, you've got a couple things you're working on you haven't spoken about. So how about a little update? Look, you've been up there. You've got a little checklist. I know you too well. So let's talk about a few of those things that you slid under the door and got things done.
Yeah, well, thank you. A couple of things that I was really proud of last session. I passed my first bill unanimously through both the House and the Senate. It was a childcare bill. It expanded childcare subsidies to foster families so that we can make sure that if a family wants to welcome a foster child into their home, they have the financial support to be able to afford childcare. Previously, our regulations weren't in a place where every family welcoming a child through foster care was getting that child care support. And so we codified the rules, we expanded access, and hopefully it'll make a difference for Kentucky kids. I was also really grateful to be on the Momnibus working group. It was a bipartisan, bicameral group of female legislators that passed some of the most significant investments in maternal health that we've seen in this state. And so I believe that it's going to save lives. It's something that I worked on while I was on Metro Council. We know that our maternal mortality in Kentucky is in the bottom 5 of all states. We know that people are dying, and they don't dying unnecessarily, dying not because they don't have access to the cutting edge technology, but dying because they don't have access to things like basic preventative healthcare, basic prenatal services. 90% of maternal mortalities are preventable. And that's what this legislation really focused on. So I was really grateful that we got it across the finish line at the very last second on the last day of session, but I believe it's going to impact folks. And in terms of the state roads and infrastructure, continuing to advocate for more money to invest in Bardstown Road. That is our major commercial corridor. We have money for some planning. There's another phase of the work still to come on Bardstown Road. And so just continuing to elevate those issues, champion those issues, and make sure that we're securing the funding for that continues to be an infrastructure priority. And really grateful for all the great work that you all do. I do see the work that you all as an organization and also as individual members are doing in the community to make the Highlands the unique, special place that it is. And I'm just really grateful for the ways that you all shape and build community every day.
Thank you very much, Cassie. It's great to see you.
Good to see you all. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there is a lot going on in the area, and believe it or not, there's some very positive things going. Along with the coming of some new businesses. We're very lucky today to have Joe and Regina Phillips here. And Joe, are you going to be the primary spokesperson today for your committee? Well, why don't you come on up? Come on up.
This is Charlie. He apparently is coming with me. What's a lot? All right. Long story short, first of all, I never thought I'd be standing here. Second of all, thank you for having me. Third of all, we're not going to be a bar. Fourth, I was in the Highlands from 91 on. I would go to Twice Told Coffee Shop. I mean, I've got friends that have known me forever. This is a huge deal to me. Palermo was our date spot. Flanagan's. There was Ann's Diner was there, and there was a laundromat. That was my laundromat. We used to go to Ann's Diner. We went to Flanagan's as soon as it opened. You know, I worked for Chris Purcell when he built Molly Malone's and sold it to Donald and Tige. This could go on for a long time. I worked for Gordo and Ken when they were early on at Old Town. You know, we used to go to Mark's Feed Stores across the street. Of course, your ecstasy. Cumberland Brewery was our hangout, and I worked at Alspiedo in Frankfurt Avenue, and I became friends with Bim Dietrich. Sadly, Dietrich's was an amazing space. And we would hang out at Cumberland and talk about if we could ever own a restaurant ever. That was the one space that we would want. And we actually got engaged upstairs there. She was working there, and I asked her to marry me. And so this is an incredibly personal space. Mary's been kind enough to let me nerd out already and find that there's hardwood floors upstairs. So I tore the carpet out, and we're redoing the floors and bringing the history back to the building. We are very community focused, neighborhood focused, and security focused. My wife is a dispatcher for Metro Safe. I'm ex-military. We're going to have our kids there all the time. That energy about bringing the neighborhood back in that corridor. I talked to Toki that owns DKD quite a bit, and the owners of Daisuke. We're friends. We talk about that because we all have families. We go to Do-Up Shop every Wednesday for music lessons. You see how far this could go. It's bad. You don't want me to do that because everyone will fall asleep and I'll still be going. So how do you summarize? So we were looking at Butchertown at the time because our family house is in Crescent Hill, and I got offered a building in New Albany, and I really wasn't sure, but the space was an old building that was being restored, and so I believe in kind of meeting your demographic where it lives when you build a concept. So I did it, and didn't know anything about Indiana really, and all the things happened for 6 years. It was a great space. Obviously, COVID happened. We partnered with the Lee Initiative. We were the only outlet in Indiana that was a partner with the Lee Initiative. And then, you know, the bridge closed and we just kept going. And so we tried to give them, I viewed Southern Indiana as Metro Louisville area. So it's crossed some bridges, have some different experiences like other cities I've been to. And so we did it, and it was good to us and interesting. But I've been looking for a space in Louisville for about 2 years. We looked in Nulu and on Logan Street, And then we literally accidentally walked down the street, saw that the windows were covered. I messaged Sam Cruz from ATG. He told me what happened, asked if I wanted to meet the landlord. I was like, yeah, right. There's like 30 people. There's got to be a line. And I just got real lucky that I was the first of the 30. So I just took it. Didn't really have a plan. And said, absolutely, yes. You don't even know the amount of history I have with this building and how much this means to me. So we explained this to her and showed the boys where this is where me and your mom got engaged. This is where everything started. So at 51 years old coming home, this is kind of end game for me. And I'm very hyper focused on the old Highlands. I mean, I'm very hung up on this. So I'm glad it got brought up so much in this meeting because I had no idea that so is everybody else. We're going to do some murals going up the staircase, and they're going to be facades of all the old businesses. So when you go up the staircase, you're like, there's their ecstasy, and there's the witch's hat, and there's Palermo, and there's all these things we all forgot about, or some didn't even know about. And it's just part of the journey of resurrecting that space. It's going to never be late night. The license is just till 12 a.m. during the week. It's very family focused upstairs, community focused. We're going to have TVs upstairs. It'll be a darker, more intimate space downstairs. There's going to be a larger non-alcoholic program. I'm trying to think of what I missed. There's a lot going on that I've got in my head that's going to happen there. We're going to have theme nights. We're going to have trivia. We're going to have a lot of kid-friendly and family-friendly and all age group focused moments. And even with access to the building, older to younger, who can do the staircase, who can't. I'm very intentional. So every aspect of everything I do, I really overthink and try to meet everybody's needs. So it's very amazing to hear the focus of this group being so much on getting the Highlands where it needs to be and keeping it safe. I was unaware. So that's amazing. So thank you all for doing that. Yes.
When are you gonna be opening?
What am I willing to manifest? We would like to hope to maybe have our soft opening in Thanksgiving weekend. Because it was turnkey, so I'm just basically it's just getting a facelift. And there's a lot of things that I won't bore you with, but similar POSs. I'm not creating a new restaurant. It's cloud-based. I'm just moving one. So I have a bigger kitchen and more things that I can do and more things I want to do, more interesting food. So I'm fortunate. So we are a pub. We're not trying to be an Irish pub or necessarily even English. My family's Welsh and English, and so it's just childhood memories, places I've traveled to. And so we do a little bit of our own curries, which we're going to expand on. Not trying to be an Indian restaurant, but we're a curry house. And then we have things like fish and chips. We just do it a little bit different. We do haddock and active yeast beer batter. We just do some healthier things and layer more flavor. We make everything ourselves. We have smash burgers. We have kids' food. We have Scotch egg. We do everything by hand. So you'll notice that. And that's where my heart lives, is in the food and touching people through food and creating memories and community. So downstairs, I won't have any TVs because we need to be doing more of this and less of staring at this or whatever, which I did in New Albany. And I was told, if you're not a sports bar, you will close. 6.5 years later, I didn't close, I'm moving. So Americans need each other, and we need to relearn the art of conversation and how to communicate effectively person to person and not on social media, and own our words and hold our moments. And so downstairs will be for that, and upstairs will be for, you want to watch soccer, or you want to have a birthday party, or whatever. Yeah, so there's a lot. So hopefully I made that somewhat comprehensible. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
In all the comings and goings and introductions, we do have in the master programs, David introduced himself earlier. If you would just give us briefly what your new role is and how we can work best with you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing today? So my new role, I'm currently the interim manager at the City of Louisville Ambassador Program. We're located at 960 Baxter Avenue. It's pretty much right above the O'Shea's, El Nopal, and that area right there by the Walgreens. And I pretty much just wanted to reassure to everyone and reconfirm that the Ambassador Program is still alive and well. Even with the passing of our previous manager Domain, it's still alive and well, and we're looking for more ways to move forward. And we're currently we're finding a permanent manager for that position to further expand, bring on more ambassadors, perhaps find a different location on Bardstown Road that suits us better. So if any of you all have any questions with me, I have my team lead, Henry Husky. He's here with me as well. And if you guys have anything for me, now's your all time. Now's your all time.
Well, thank you, Rick.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
In bringing up to date a little bit about Bardstown Road Aglow, as you know, we are in a position of being in a competitive position with Light Up Louisville. Maker's Mark is our new sponsor. Trolley DeVille has agreed to run 2 trolleys to help transport people from one end of Bardstown Road to the Douglas Loop and back and forth. We are currently sending out, I don't know if you all have seen it or not, it's online, as well as we are physically walking door to door and putting out the forms. So if you know any business that would like to sign up, we do have the forms as well. Along with that, we have up to 8 musician groups we're working with, trying to get the funding together and in place. They'll be placed at strategic locations up and down Bardstown Road. Not to forget the light up itself at 545, and several of our elected officials, including Mr. McGarvey, have agreed to come and help light up the city on the Highlands level. Nick has been very good to inform us that that's one of the highest or the largest evergreens in Louisville at Grinstead and Bardstown Road, the Wendy's. And Wendy's has been very kind to work with us over the years as creating a very local and very family-friendly event. We are working on several concepts, which does include potential with the PNC parking lot is having it an option about putting up some booths. We're discussing that after the meeting. If anybody wants to become involved in the activity, we're always in need of extra volunteers. It does involve footing from door to door because that's the way we do it here. If there's any questions about the event, please ask. If not, we'll keep this a very timely meeting because we have some drawings today and we have more than one drawing. The centerpieces are part of the giveaway today. The candy is definitely part of the giveaway. And don't forget Casito products in back. So any questions, thoughts? All right, now, was there, let's see, there's 2, okay, Vince, you need to introduce yourself. Yeah, you came in a little bit late and that's okay, but we always introduce ourselves. Try introducing yourself. A very active Hibernian. Yes. Yes, sir.
Jose Rodriguez, I'm new to Louisville.
Thank you for coming. All right. Do you have the numbers ready, Nick? Wonderful.
Good morning to everyone. Appreciate you all coming today. We've had a pretty full agenda, and we covered a lot of bases, and there's a good reason for that, because this is our last meeting of the year. We will not be meeting in November because of Thanksgiving, and of course, December, there's Christmas. So we will not be seeing most of you folks until next year. So yeah. So we will end the day. You will be well rewarded by attending today, either by helping yourself to some of the Halloween candy. So that's a treat. We're not doing any tricks today. So, but also we're going to have drawings for all of the centerpieces or the flower pots. So I've got everyone's name on the list, and Aaron will call a number, and we will see who the winners are.
Number 25.
25 is Amy.
Seven.
Number 7 is Deanna.
And lucky number 5.
Number 5 is Officer Jason Grissom.
Number 22.
22 is Jeff Myers.
All right, number 6.
6, okay. Number 6 is Officer John Keeling. Okay.
I want to. All right, number 10.
Number 10 is Mary Mosley.
Number 3.
Number 3 is Ann Lindauer.
Number 8.
Number 8 is Ray Brundage. I think Ray left.
Number 23.
23 is Ralph. Is Ralph still in here? Yeah, Ralph. Aaron, how many do we have total?
8. We have one more.
One more, okay.
Number 26.
26 is Vince O'Neill.
Yay, Vince. Good job.
All right.
Before we get too rowdy, please stick around. We're a very sober crowd, but technically being our annual event, we represent our city board, must be represented and voted upon. Our current board membership is myself, Aaron Van, Amy Booster Ford, Nick Morris, Jeff Myers, Adina Perez, and Ralph. He's there for everything, but he needs to be acknowledged because he just unbelievably, without a hesitation, has been some of the best support and cleanup of this team. Just always want to get the Ralph. I presented the applicant names as our board, and I hope that you all will move to consider it. All four. Aye. If you're against, alcohol. Thank you for being here. Please sit around. I know Morgan is here. He's happy to talk with constituents. And if there's any questions or want to sign up, Nick's got the forms. And we also are ready for the renewal of the Highlands Commerce Guild. That for a lot of people that do light up or tree light up and membership at the same time. So go sign up. Thank you.